right, I'm just streaming. We'll just do this. Stream is on. Scott is not muted. Stop streaming. Start streaming. I think we're good there. This is about to be live. Talk about some anime, even though it says we're talking about controllers. Guess I should tweet. GeekNights live. Anime something something. All right. I'll just do the opening and then. It's Wednesday, June 14th, 2017. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Nights. Tonight, it's an anime news roundup. For the longest time, whenever we don't have a Monday episode, we always think, why don't we do a tech news roundup?
We do it once a year, and for some reason, it's once a year around the same time every year.
Yep, right around that time, we run out of tech news. And we're like, well, we can't do one again. We just did one. And then we look, and it's almost exactly a year previous. But we never really do that with all the other days, and I feel like that could save us.
Well, because there aren't enough newses in any of the other categories.
True.
To make a roundup, right? And
Usually.
also, we were gonna do just a regular old episode reviewing something. You just didn't watch it.
I've been busy. I'll watch it for the next Wednesday show, and I'll read that manga that you saw me buy literally before we started streaming, and I'll be going to London, so there's no excuse to not read it. In fact, there's no excuse not to watch the thing either, because I have the, now that you can offline watch, a lot of the anime on Netflix is in the offline thing, so I can watch it on my flight. So I can watch the thing and read the manga, which I've seen everywhere and I just never read for some reason, because actually when I looked at that cover again, it actually looked like the kind of thing I would like. So, yeah, guess we'll just get right into our anime, manga, comic, and related media news. But first...
We're just going to do the thing of the day without anything else.
Yep. Things of the day. So what do you got?
So this I think it's an Australian guy.
This guy sounds so Australian.
I'm 90% sure it's Australian guy. He goes to the beach, and one of the things you do at the beach besides swimming is digging a hole in the sand, because what else you got to do with sand besides dig a hole in it or build a castle out of it?
Fun fact, when I was a kid, young kid, we'd go to the beach up in northern Michigan every year. And one day, us and all the other kids, relative kids and neighbor kids, we just started digging a hole, and we dug a real deep hole. And then we got the idea to cover it in sticks, cover those sticks in leaves, cover those leaves in sand. And then we left it there, and we're giggling about it all day. And finally, our parents what are you guys all giggling about? And we're like, we left a man trap on the beach. We explained what we're doing, and I remember so clearly all the parents kind of look at each other, and then one of the dads was like, oh, shit. And they run to the beach to find this thing and dismantle it before someone died.
I once made a tiny hole. It was only maybe a foot deep, and I was putting sticks in it upright.
Oh, that's even worse.
Oh, yeah.
At least you didn't poop on the sticks, right?
And then I went, no. And then I went to test it, and I cut my foot a little bit.
What did you? It's like you got a sword. You're like, I'm gonna test the sword. You just
well,
cut yourself.
I wanted to make sure someone would actually fall through the top and not just walk across safely. Otherwise, what's the point? I cut my foot a little bit, and I was like, oh, I actually made a real trap. Awesome.
Yep, there's definitely a young age where swords and traps seem like the coolest thing in the world, because you don't quite.
The world needs a lot more traps, I say.
Yeah.
Not enough traps.
Like Home Alone style?
Coolest part, not even when you play D&D, the place you're supposed to encounter traps, there aren't enough of them. People don't use traps enough. Instead, all we get is occasional electrified manhole.
You know, you're right.
Which is not cool.
Even when I made Burning Wheel micro dungeons, for old burning cons and things, I only had 2 or 3 traps.
Everyone's always I check the door for traps, I check the chest for traps, and there's never any fucking traps anywhere. It's dude, just trap it up. Come on, people love traps.
I remember long ago playing a D&D game where...
What you got to do is put a trap on the door where they know it's going to be.
But
they check for traps, and they find the trap, and they pick the lock and dismantle the trap, and they feel all great. And they're like, all right, we met our trap quota. And then you get them with a good old stone rolling down the hallway trap, or step on the plate on the floor trap.
So you got a stone rolling trap that goes toward the door, and it's triggered by successfully picking the lock on the door.
I'm just saying.
That also has a trap.
I'm just saying, you got to get them with the traps and not thinking about traps.
Just let's We should do a Geek Night. Want to do an episode on traps? That's a Thursday show.
I got nothing else to say about traps except we need more.
Let's come up with traps.
Let's trap people.
Yeah. Next episode of Geek Nights, why Rim and Scott are in jail.
Podcast from jail.
So anyway, I super interrupted you on your thing of the day.
Oh, this guy's in Australia, and he's digging a hole in the sand, but not to put a trap in it.
Yup.
Although digging a hole in the sand is this deep may be dangerous to yourself. Don't try it at home.
Seriously, a lot of kids die every year by digging holes in the beach. That shit is so dangerous.
Imagine if you're 6 feet tall, and you dig, I'm 5'11", right? And I dig a hole in the sand, it's like 8 feet, and I go in, and then the sand caves in on me. If it's covering my head, and people can't pull me out of there.
You're done.
I die. The end. So anyway, this guy digs a hole in the sand that's deep enough to stand in for sure. And his goal is to make sort of like an underground living shed tent area.
People make something. You'll see, like, depending on certain beaches, people will like bring tents or bring portable huts, or like they'll make a semi-permanent structure for like their month-long beach vacation. Like that's where they go hang out every day and they leave their beach stuff there.
In the shade.
This is that plus a basement.
Yeah, he made 2 stories of basement, followed by a hut on the surface area, the surface level.
I just want to go to a beach where I'm hanging out at the beach long enough to where this is a feasible idea.
I want to lock the door and then fill it with water because traps.
I did not expect you to bring it back so soon with the traps.
Traps.
So my thing of the day is definitely not a trap. So, there's a genre of YouTube video that is someone plays a song accompanied by a thing that is not a musical instrument, like a washing machine that makes a weird noise. Or there's a famous one of this like country band playing a song where there's this tractor idling, and the tractor idling is the drums for the song, like that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. This video is one of those, and you'll see those videos are all linked here. Like, they'll be the recommended videos for you probably. But this escalates so far beyond what you expect. So there's a thing that'll happen if you have shitty pipes in certain kinds of, like, old pipe fixtures, where if you turn the faucet on to certain points, the pipes will drone. Like, they'll make a droning sound.
Because the speed of the water going through resonates with the pipe and makes it shake and vibrate and make a
coupled
noise.
with the mechanism of the faucet. Kind of like how you can get water hammers and all those other things that'll happen.
Oh, water hammer.
Water hammers are bad fucking news.
But they're fun.
They are fun until, like, the pipe in the basement at the apartment you're renting literally explodes because you water hammered too much.
Well, I don't live in the basement, so that's fine.
But there's another thing they'll do where they'll do that in a rhythm, and all sorts of nonsense can happen with pipes. So my video is simply, and you just have to watch it, triple concerto for faucet, water pipes, and fiddle. And when you start watching this, you'll think, all right, that's pretty cool. And then he escalates it a little bit. He incorporates the water pipes and the faucet to a degree that is really legit. Like, this is good stuff here. This is one of my favorite things of the day I've ever found. We watched it over the weekend, and it's pretty good. Maybe I'll put it as the stinger instead of weird internet shit this time. So in the meta moment, the book club book is Frank Herbert's Dune.
I
which
started reading.
I'm going to start reading it like this weekend. We'll see how Dune-y we get. Maybe I'll live tweet as
I just want to say,
it.
like, if I'm a nerd who knows about Dune, even though I never finished reading it before and haven't read it at all since middle school. And in just chapter 1, they've already introduced every single proper noun I've ever heard anyone use to talk about Dune.
So on a scale of Cat in the Hat as a 0 and Prince of Nothing.
Why is Cat in the Hat a 0?
I don't know. It's cat, hat.
You don't like Cat in the Hat?
I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm saying the number of proper nouns introduced in that book approaches 0.
Oh, that's true.
And a 10 is the Prince of Nothing. Where does Dune sit for you so far? In terms of
it's not the number of proper nouns. It's that unlike Prince of Nothing, which uses I'll probably say this when we do the book club episode again anyway, but Prince of Nothing uses proper nouns that have been invented based on languages of the world, so you can sort of get a feel of like a Latin root or something on a lot of words to sort of guess at their meanings. Like you can sort of tell that feels like the name of a place. That feels like the name of a person. That feels sort of like a, Middle Eastern kind of word, right?
Yeah.
That kind of thing where...
And that's all consistent. Like the aesthetic is consistent,
right.
So you can make inferences that make sense.
The words in the proper nouns in Dune their structure gives you no sense to their meaning.
The Baphomet
whatsoever.
Samaflange.
Right, and then sometimes some of them get explained, and some of them are just like, all right, there's a proper noun. I have to wait till I see it again, and then once they explain it, come back and read the sentence again to see what the hell they were saying.
Otherwise, you should check out Scott's YouTube channel and my YouTube channel because we're both uploading a lot of stuff.
Yep.
The Utena show is coming back. I think I talked about this last time, but this Wednesday, so I really want to bring it up again. As you know, we haven't done a Geek Nights Presents Utena analysis episode in a while, and part of that is because half the fucking videos were taken down by copyright. I have done the work. I've filed like 50 notifications and counter notifications. All of the series we've done to date is back on YouTube, free and clear. You can watch them. So finally, we can start the production pipeline up again. Pretty much right after Kineticon, so like middle of July, we're going to start making the Utena videos again. Like everything, the stars are aligned. And when it gets to the news, we'll talk about it. It's a good time to start doing the Utena stuff again. And I'm feeling Utena a lot lately.
You should also follow us on all the places on the internet that you can follow people. Twitter, right? We even have a Facebook. That
we do? Keep forgetting about that.
There are some people that go there. It's really just messages that are automatic, like, hey, new episode kind of thing, right?
Like G+, like there's comments in there and stuff, I guess.
Whoa.
Like,
What?
You know what the moral is? We get a lot of fans.
I have a Geek Nights Instagram account that I haven't used, but I think, like, for now, like, when we do stuff, like, go to a convention or there's a Geek Nights activity, I'll post some photos there.
Yup.
I'll find the
Patreon,
find the password for
where
it.
I post like old episodes and like things there, and that has like its own feeds. The moral is we have fans who
you're already listening to the stupid podcast, so it's kind of the wrong place to spread this message.
Yeah, well, but then again, I think there's a lot
of people. We should go to all those places and and in each of the places talk about all the other places.
Yeah, because we have like a forum community that's kind of separate from our YouTube community, which is separate from like the people in iTunes who just listen to the show.
Go to the forum also at frontrowcrew.com.
Our forum's pretty baller. Like I hang out there because it's actually like a pretty great.
Make sure that when you
community.
register for it, there's a little box that says "Why are you joining?" A lot of people write things in there like for discussion. Or
nope, you're a bot.
To meet, right? I might have rejected people who might have been real people. You have to write something in there that like lets us know that yes, you are really someone who knows what Geek Nights is or something.
Yep.
Some examples of things people have written there. Have been like. I want to listen, I have something to say to these two morons, or something along those lines.
Put a sock on your head to prove you're not.
Right, something like that. People will write in the in that box, and that will get your registration approved. If you write something else, you won't get approved.
And also, if you go to my YouTube channel, we started doing this. This was originally a Patreon goal, but I made a pipeline for this anyway, so I was like, fuck it, I'll just do it. We live stream like most of the Geek Nights episodes, like as we record them. I'm also live streaming them. It's on YouTube right now. There are 9 people watching, and they're talking about plumbing.
The 9 saddest people.
They know stuff about plumbing and pipes. There's a lot of stuff going in here. We got someone here, big fan, first time catching you two live, talking about pipes, talking about traps, talking about mousetrap.
Pipe trap?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, sad people.
But as you might know, many of you might not realize, but Geek Nights, we've been doing this for like 12 years, so we record straight to tape. Like, Geek Nights is not edited. The only difference between the live stream and the podcast is that, one, the live stream, you see our faces. You see that we don't look at each other, and that Scott has his eyes closed for most of the show.
What's there to look at? Rim's head?
No, the back of my head, because we don't even look at each other. My, like, thinning hairline right there. But you also see when we pause in the middle of the episode and transfer from, like, news bit to main bit. And occasionally you'll see us trying to figure out what the hell to do the show on. So there's biz in there. The chat just keeps going. I can't keep up with that. So otherwise,
10 people, such a chat you couldn't possibly keep up with.
Well, because I got to look here to do that, but I got to look here to get ready for the next bit of the show. Woo! He read my comment. They're excited. We're averaging 1 message a minute.
Oh.
And so it's pretty big. The most people we've ever had watch the show live at one time was like 30, and that was during the barbecue episode because I guess food. If we just did Geek Nights food, I think we'd actually have more fans.
Probably. Set up the cameras in the kitchen.
Even though we don't know anything about food.
I know how to cook some things.
Yeah, I know how to cook some things. I don't know how to do like a food show though, because I don't. It's like the barbecue show. We don't know shit about barbecue.
No.
So I guess let's get right into it with our anime news roundup. So first things first, Utena was a manga by Chio Saito and an anime by B Papas, which is sort of like a collaboration of Chio Saito and Ikuhara and all these other like important people. And it's kind of like a unique and magic show. There's a reason we're doing like an entire YouTube chat like show around trying to analyze this. It's like the Hawthorne anime. Like there's nothing else like it. But if you got really into Utena, you might have read the manga. Like ostensibly it is a big part of the source material of Utena. And you might have wondered why it's completely different. And like Utena's dating Toga, and like no one appears to be, or Toga was dating Juri, like no one's homosexual. It's
no one's incestual.
It's real simple and not at all like the show. And it is definitely important, and there's a lot of reasons to talk about Chio Saito and like all these things. But most fans of Utena don't really talk much about the manga. The manga's real old, and it's coming back. There's going to be a new original Utena manga.
So wait, Chio Saito is writing and drawing this?
Or
someone else?
So B Papas, blah, 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 developed the manga and anime at the same time. I didn't actually read this article yet.
Who's making this manga? What's it about? Is it starting from scratch or picking up as just the next volume of the manga, like Utena volume whatever?
This year's July issue of Shogakukan's Flowers magazine announced on Saturday that a new Utena manga will run in the September issue on July 28th. Chio Saito is drawing the new manga. It does not say
writing.
It does not say she's writing it. Just
but
says she's
drawing.
It's
the same thing, but I'm pretty sure it means she's
probably
doing it. Right?
Yeah. And no one knows like more details than that, as far as I can tell.
Well, I'm sure it'll be scanslated in like 2 seconds.
Yep. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll give Scott the Utena manga so he can read it. Maybe we'll review it, because I read it a long time ago, back when I was ultra obsessed with trying to, like, analyze Utena the first time I watched it. But it's just really interesting that this is happening more. Like, old properties are coming back, and oftentimes the original talent are involved again. And I feel like there's a new wave of nostalgia.
That's the opposite of in America. Everything's coming back, has been coming back for many years now, but the original talent is not the ones doing it. It's like, what Spider-Man movie has been written by Stan Lee? None.
Yeah.
None.
I wonder if part of this is that the anime industry is starting to pick up again in a big way in Japan. It has its problems, obviously, with monetization, and like the industry might not be healthy, but it's growing again, which wasn't the trend like 10 years ago. So I wonder if that might be driving a replumbing.
I think it's only able to grow because of the abuse of the employees, right?
Oh yeah,
working at slave wages. They actually had to pay animators and artists the amount of money that they deserve. There would be much less, but much higher quality anime and manga available.
Of course, once we review the new Little Witch Academia TV show, because there might be a model where American companies like Netflix finance the creation of anime and go big budget and pay people. That might actually Little Witch Academia.
Or the executives take all the money.
Oh yeah.
And the in-betweeners are still outsourced to some rando country.
I feel like companies like Netflix investing in anime style or animation or things like this might really disrupt the Japanese industry.
We'll see.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of, until I read this news, which is recent, I would never have thought that there would ever be another Utena, ever.
Yeah, imagine that's like hearing oh, yeah, that thing that ended and was done for, like, and that favorite band that broke up, or what's another thing that ended? Oh, there's gonna be
Cowboy Bebop 2. Fuck it.
Yeah,
Here
it's
it
just gonna pick up off where it's episode 27.
And there's a spin-off IOAV. Cowgirl Ed and Ein have magical adventures. Like that's kind of what this is like.
I guess this happened already. It's called Star Wars.
Yeah.
By the way, it's been many years, but Star Wars.
Well, remember too, like when I was a kid, until episode 1 was announced, I just assumed that Star Wars was a complete thing that was done forever. When Star Wars 1 was announced, that was possibly the most excited I had ever been about anything ever.
That episode 1 trailer is still the movie was garbage, but that trailer for episode 1 was might be the most watched trailer there ever was.
Yeah, like someone...
We were downloading real media files and carrying them around so we can
Some
watch it
rando
again.
on like a BBS posted like there's gonna be a new Star Wars movie, and I didn't fucking believe the guy until I saw the trailer myself.
We were watching that. I had a 486. We were watching that little video file over and over.
Yeah, we used to wait like when we watched Trigun at what 40p, I guess 40i, 20 pixels interlace.
It was bad.
So in some other news, this is sort of related to Japan, but there was apparently, the Answer Man is a column on Anime News Network, and
I thought that column ended, but I guess not.
yeah, I don't remember because I don't follow it that often.
No,
usually
I don't pay
follow
that much attention.
I usually only notice
Since Anime News Nina ended, I stopped paying attention to.
Yeah. But Answer Man is always pretty good. But they did a thing recently on like what otaku are like in Japan.
That discussion is so old, and I've read like so many things about where the word came from and what it means and what it meant before and all etymology. I've read everything there is to read about that.
And
of
their
course,
article,
my memory doesn't serve me that well, but
their
I've read
article
all those
basically
things.
said all the things you would probably say if you were off the cuff told to explain that.
Yeah.
And the internet reacted, and they have sort of a retraction / follow up. Basically, very few people in America have been paying a lot of attention to the fact that anime fandom in Japan has actually changed a lot in the last decade.
Okay.
And there appears to be a lot of evidence that it is actually turning a lot more into like what American anime fandom was like in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
In that it's a lot more social. There's a lot more girls and women who are in the fandom. People are more open about it.
I knew that. Just look at the Yoa pedals and the haikus and the
Yep.
freeze and the Yuri on Ices.
But it talks about like the growth of Otome Road and Ikebukuro and like Fujoshi content being produced more and more and more.
Yep.
And how like
We know about that.
like movies like Your Name actually like kind of showed that anime is like getting legit mainstream. But the biggest change seems to be that the stereotype of like super ultra shut-in hikikomori, like those people exist, but anime like fan conventions in Japan and fan gatherings are becoming more and more social like they are in the US. And that is all fascinating. You can read this article. I'm not going to read the article to you, but it is fascinating to see this column sort of retract the 90s, 2000s view of what Japanese anime and manga fandom was like and actually look at what it really is like today in 2017 because, the world changes and stuff's different today.
You think there's enough people that speak Japanese and English and are in both places that they could like keep us more up to date on these sorts of things?
See, you think that, but again, remember that book I read on the Battle of Midway?
Like
not
if I
that long
spoke
ago?
a different language and went to another country, like I don't know, what if I spoke Lebanese and hang out in Lebanon? I would be keeping everyone in the English-speaking world up to date on what the fuck it's like in Lebanon now and shit.
People translating primary. So remember the thing with the pirates in Japan? Like they've translated some French document. And they were like, oh shit, there's history in here that we just never looked at because none of us bothered reading a translation of this thing. That happens all the time. Language barriers actually really prevent like information exchange to this day. And it's not because we can't translate, because no one bothers.
Scott is now king of world. Everyone must learn Esperanto and Lojban.
Lojban.
Only two approved languages. No more speaking any old stupid human languages.
So this is probably the most important link I got here because there's two big deal items here.
I don't know how confirmed this is. It's a picture of a poster on a wall somewhere.
No. Genko booth at some film festival revealed that like this is announced. So the two big things are Pluto, which might be one of the best comics ever written.
Nah, it's up there.
Top 100.
It's not. Sure, top 100.
Top 50 maybe.
Maybe.
Pluto's real fucking good.
Yeah.
Especially because of the context of what it is.
Well, yeah, I think that's part of the weakness of Pluto, is maybe one of its few weaknesses, is that you have to understand the context, otherwise a lot of it is lost on you. But I'll give you context right after Rim stops talking.
I was waiting for you to keep talking. Go for it.
Oh, you wanted the context of Pluto?
Yeah.
All right. So, Astro Boy, effectively like the first anime.
The first anime.
The first real manga, maybe? Right? Anyway, in Astro Boy, right, there is a story, a sub-story, right, that takes place. And in this story, there is a robot named Pluto, and he's a bad guy. He wants to be the strongest robot there is on the whole Earth, right?
Yep.
So he goes around.
Pluton.
So he goes around to all the other awesome robots on the Earth, who are the awesomest, by the way, and who are supposedly the strongest robots, like Mont Blanc, the Mountaineer,
Yep.
and my favorite guy, Photar, who's the robot who takes care of the children, and many other really badass robots. And he says, "Come out here, you awesome robot. I have to fight you and beat you to prove that I'm the strongest robot there is, because that's what I want to be, the strongest robot there is." And Astro Boy, of course, is on the hit list, right? And in this story, what takes place is basically something that is now the tropest of tropes. The good guy gets defeated, powers up, and comes back stronger than before. Astro Boy gets beat up. Spoilers. He goes back, and he gets upgraded from like however many horsepower he was before up to 1,000,000. I forget what the exact number is, but just pretend that he used to be 1,000 horsepower and is now 1,000,000 horsepower, and he comes back, right? And you see that happen in every anime ever. Oh no, Goku got defeated. He'll come back. He's Super Saiyan now. Oh shit, son, here we come, right? You can see that in Naruto. It's like Fist of the North Star, or like every single shonen story and a lot of other stories, right? Your superhero, or even in non-super stories, somebody is the main character on their journey faces a setback. They go and train and level up somehow, and they come back, right? And Pluto is, as far as I can tell, like the first main I can't find an older example of that trope that is so clear and distinct that every later thing, borrows from, right? So,
but it's just one like story. It's like an arc in Astro Boy.
Right. So it's just a story arc in Astro Boy that this happens in, but it establishes this trope for all time, right? So if you look at all the other iterations of Astro Boy, right, the different anime series, all three of them.
I think the 80s one might be the most like
the 80s rendition of that story. I think is the best one I've seen compared to the black and white 60s one and the 2000s one. And the 2000s one's Pluto's like completely different. But what happened is this story was retold yet again, right? Urasawa, the manga artist who made 20th Century Boys, Monster, Billy Bat, which I'm still waiting for in English.
Yeah, I haven't read it.
Right, all these terrific, amazing Master Keaton, right? All these amazing mangas, right? He made Pluto, which was, how many volumes is it?
I don't even remember.
I have all the volumes. It's published in English.
I should read it again.
Yeah, I forget if it's 8 or 10 volumes or whatever, but it basically retells that story of Pluto.
Eight book volumes.
In 8 volumes, and obviously it's in the art style of Urasawa, right? Because he's drawing and writing it. But instead of telling the story from the perspective of Astro Boy, it tells the story from the perspective of Gesicht. I think that's how you say it. Gesicht, the German detective robot who is, in the original story, just one of the super badass robots that is on the hit list of Pluto.
And it is just such a beautifully told, nuanced story.
Yep. So he's basically retelling that exact same story again, right? Yet, by expanding it so much and now able to go into the details and character, really get into all the characters and explore, the Gesicht character a whole lot more than, the few pages he had in the very original, right? So there you go. Also, Astro Boy itself, the manga, has been entirely reprinted now recently by Dark Horse. It used to be you could get it in these tiny little volumes and needed a whole bunch of them. They printed Astro Boy Omnibus. You buy these books, I think maybe like 8 or 9. I forget how many they made. I have a whole bunch of them.
I should read those.
And it's all of the Astro Boy manga in English, and it's like these fat books.
Of course, I have all of Dr. Slump, and I only made it like 3 volumes into that.
Good luck.
I gotta start bringing that on flights. Yeah. Just start paging through it.
Slumping it.
I didn't even finish Cromartie. I got a ton of that too. Mm-hmm. And I love Cromartie.
You want to see my unread mangas? You're like, Rim's like, I got 2 unread mangas. I'm like, uh-huh. All right. Let me show you my unread mangas.
But yeah, so this anime is gonna be real interesting, and we're gonna keep an eye on it.
The thing is like, on the one hand, it's exciting to popularize Pluto again.
But on the other hand, I hated the Monster anime only because the manga was so good, and the anime was just the exact same thing plus music.
Right. So is Pluto going to be the exact same thing as the manga? In which case,
Which Urasawa is directly involved, so the answer is probably.
Do we need it? Is it necessary? I just want to see, this good stuff.
Controversial opinion. I think on one hand, Monster popularized Urasawa's work and probably got more people to go read his manga. But the counterpoint is that it is literally redundant if you've read the comic. Like, because I had read Monster, the anime had nothing for me.
Of course.
Nothing.
Urasawa's other work I didn't mention that I want the most, that is the hardest to get in English, is Yaora Fashionable Judo Girl.
Oh, yeah. I always forget about that one.
And it's not easy to get in English.
So
manga or anime.
So the other thing that's coming back is there's going to be a new Patlabor.
Oh shit! There's always new Patlabors. For
I don't
some
think,
reason they
I
won't
don't think
let it
Oshii
die.
is involved.
He was only involved with a few Patlabors, the first 2 movies and the OAV. He wasn't involved with the TV series or the 3rd movie or the mini Pato or any of that other stuff that came after. There was, there's some other things. There's a live action.
I always thought he was.
I don't think he had anything to do with the live action one.
I always thought he was involved in the TV show, but that wasn't based on knowledge. That was just me assuming, which often happens.
No, but there are a few TV episodes that are Oshii-esque that clearly he took inspiration from the Oshii days, or maybe he was secretly involved with just a handful of them, or, some of his materials leaked into there. But mostly, no, he wasn't. I don't think he's on the credits list for the TV series.
Yep.
But yeah, Patlabor is the shit.
Patlabor, easy Y.
All right. And the thing is it the original Patlabor characters, or is it like all new, just...
Well, so all we know, as far as I can tell...
Patlabor is one of those things where, like, they'll just take the same concept of, it's a world where labors are, and just make all new characters. But the thing that makes Patlabor great is the original characters.
Yep.
That's what people care about. I don't care about the stupid robots.
It's got that same kind of dynamic that, like...
I care about the chief.
These are way different shows, but there's a certain kind of dynamic that you see in things like here's Greenwood or Tank Police, of like this certain kind of like camaraderie among people who are ostensibly all on the same team doing their like workaday job.
But it brings in the humor, but also the seriousness, and also the greater the world at large, but also the small, right? The micro interactions.
Like even
them.
like the original Ghost in the Shell manga had a lot of that.
Some of it.
But because that does not exist in most of the rest of Ghost in the Shell. It's only like the first manga, I think.
Standalone Complex has it more even than the first manga.
Yeah, but Standalone Complex is a little more serious. It has less of like the major
parts. Yeah.
literally puts a car bomb in Aramaki's car because fuck you didn't give me a raise.
Yeah, that's true.
But all we know is, and I'm quoting, this is the English text that was on the poster at their booth.
Mm-hmm.
With the rapidly accelerating development of hyper-technology, a humanoid-type robot called Levar is being used in every field of industry.
That's the story of Patlabor.
Yep.
Okay.
Special vehicle section number 2.
Uh-huh.
That's it. Like that's all we know.
Oh, well, that's the story of the original Patlabor. So
we have no idea. It's just going to be more Patlabor, but there's big real names behind it. Like it's a fully funded project, it looks like. So...
they just can't let go of that Patlabor. They keep bringing it back, only like the tiny bit at a time. They just can't let go.
There was even that live action that no one I know watched.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I didn't know it existed until...
I knew it existed, but how was I going to watch it?
If I knew, I forgot. So here it is.
You
the
can
live
just
action.
rewatch the Patlabor that exists, but you might not want to bother with the second TV series. It's not as good.
Yeah, first TV series, 2 movies.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any more movies?
No, you watch the OAV, then you watch the first movie, then you watch the TV, and then you watch the second movie. Then you don't really need to watch anything else.
The second movie is real good, but it's way better if you've seen a lot of the other Patlabor.
In case I was slightly wrong about that, check the internet. But
yeah,
just watch the OAV first.
The last time I watched any Patlabor, we still lived in Beacon, so.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my favorite anime ever was Gagmanga Biori. We've talked about it before. Whenever I do a clip show at cons, I pretty much always show there's 2 episodes, the Harris one and the one with the sticker.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not saying this is going to be anything like it, but I'm reminded of it based on surface details alone. There is going to be a short improv style anime, and the main character is going to be Picottaro, who you know from Pen Pineapple Apple Pen.
Yeah, so this guy is basically he was a comedian or whatever, and he had his one tiny hit thing.
He had a pen,
EPAP.
and he had a pineapple.
Right, his one thing became a catchy hit, and now he's basically milking it for all he can, which can't blame him.
Yep.
And he's not doesn't seem to be a bad guy. He's a funny guy. I want to see how long he can hold on before he fades into obscurity again.
Picottaro will improvise the story of each 3-minute episode using an illustration by the anime's director. He's going to tell a fairy tale and voice every character, including himself.
At least he's working hard, right? He's not faking it. He's putting in the efforts.
This is like
he's got talents.
This is the level of like weird improvisational comedy concept that is either going to be real bad or is going to be bad, but I'm going to really like it. I feel like that's the way it's going to go. It's either going to be bad or bad, but I like it.
Oh,
yeah, here at the end. Picottaro is best known for his bizarre viral music video, PPAP. And then, in case you didn't know what that was, pen, pineapple, apple, pen.
Pen, pineapple, apple, pen.
So we don't need to talk about this. It's the same story detail in a lot. It's the same story that happens everywhere. I don't even have a news link for it. Anime Expo is looking for volunteers to be like walk-around translators for their guests, which is fucked up because that is a professional, difficult, expensive job.
Shouldn't they hire people with money?
That's the fucked up part. Apparently, they have both paid and unpaid positions. So they're paying some people, and they're asking other people to volunteer to do a crazy ton of expensive work for free.
So don't do that job if you're not getting paid.
Yeah. Also, most people who are professional translators, knowing a language, even being semi-fluent or fluent in a language, is not the same skill as being a translator.
That's true.
And being
a lot of people can translate like written stuff when they have time to sit there with the dictionary and think about it, because they know the language enough. But they do not have the skills to like sit at the UN and translate as someone is talking in real time.
Yep.
That is an entirely different skill that is much more difficult.
And translating talking real time is also very different from translating walking around in like just general day-to-day interactions with someone.
Mm-hmm.
So the moral is F these cons that try to have very specialized work be just unpaid free labor.
Listen, there's nothing wrong. See, there's nothing wrong with someone who asks around and says, hey, who wants to work for free?
Yep.
Just stop working for fucking free. Stop it. Don't do it.
Yep.
And if someone doesn't pay you, right? They said they were going to pay you, and they don't. Stop working.
I mean, maybe it's your passion. I mean, I volunteer. Like, I do free work for things occasionally.
Yeah, but I know I'm doing.
Yep. It's also, I do it super on purpose, and I don't have unreasonable expectations about that becoming something, like, real later. Volunteering for this, if you're not already a professional, will probably not give you the experience to become a professional.
In New York, we actually there was a new law recently that to make it easier when freelance, if someone hires freelancers and doesn't pay them, it's easier now to go after them to get your fucking money.
Yep.
And it's harder for them to not pay. So
also, we've never been to Anime Expo, and partly because, based on all accounts, it is the worst anime con to go to in the U.S.
As far as I can tell, it's a really crowded, mostly professional, not fan, blah convention.
Like, if you like anime, go to Anime Boston. It's probably the best anime con in the U.S.
Even Otakon.
Yeah.
Right? Which is at least fan-run, even though industry presence is large.
Yep. I think Anime Boston is smaller than Otakon, but I also think it's a lot better run based on previous experience coupled with current anecdotal evidence. Frankly, we didn't go to either this year just because too busy. Like, we got a lot going on. But, yeah. In terms of other things coming back, many of you have probably seen Project Aiko, like the original Project Aiko.
Well, some people might not have heard of it, but Project Aiko is a big deal because it was one of the animes on the Sci-Fi Channel, so all the nerds who found anime in those days know about it.
People our age, this is like the third anime they ever saw.
Right, but newer anime fans might not know what the hell it is at all. Just be like, oh,
but if you've listened to GeekNights, like, Project Aiko, we've talked about a lot, at least in older episodes. And here's the thing. Most people who even know what Project Aiko is don't know that it was actually based on what was supposed to be porn. But it's not porn. It's actually just a comedy. It's actually a really funny comedy. And it's also a very, like I didn't realize it was making fun of, like, Fist of the North Star and all this other anime because I'd never seen other anime before when I first saw it. But it's legit funny. Like, it's a funny show, but most people know it as this one movie, which is actually an OAV. It's like one story about these weird characters in this high school and superpowers and stuff. If you're a little more inside baseball or a little more pro, you might know that there was a like double feature movie, Project Gray and Project Blue, I think, that is the same characters but like alternate universe.
Mm-hmm.
What most of you probably don't know is there is a whole ton of other Project Aiko OAVs. There's episode 2, 3, and 4. I've seen all of them. I don't think they've been legally able to be seen in the U.S. since the 80s.
Are they any good?
Yeah, they're just as funny as part 1.
All right.
Like, I rented them all from I rented 2 of them from Blockbuster. I got a bootleg, like, fan sub of the 3rd one. I actually don't know if I ever saw the 4th one, now that I think about it. But I've definitely seen the plot of the Daitokuji Financial Group and Cinderella Rhapsody. Discotheque picked them all up, and they're all just you're gonna be able to watch them.
Mm.
So if you have not listened to Geek Nights for 12 years and don't know what the hell we're talking about, go find Project Aiko, the first like OAV, and just watch it. It is like a big part of American anime fandom history, and it's pretty funny. So this is crazy. There's gonna be a new Irresponsible Captain Tyler anime short series.
This is crazy. This is like we just talked about there being a new Utena manga, a thing that was dead, and someone's gonna make a new thing. Captain Tyler was it was just a 26 episode anime series, right?
And then there was an
And then
OAV.
that was it.
Nope, there was an OAV that came
Oh.
out later.
All right, there was a movie too.
Yeah, but the movie is sort of like the capstone to the OAV.
But anyway, it's like this thing is bigger than I thought it was.
So here's the thing.
But it hasn't been around in years. There hasn't been a single thing related to this property made in forever.
Yeah, like no one, like most people in America have never even heard of this. But to this day, like Irresponsible Captain Tyler is one of my favorite anime ever. Like it is in my personal top 10 list. And I feel like it is an A anime. It is legit. It is good. It is funny. It is serious. I've never seen anything else quite like it. And if you've seen even one episode of Legend of the Galactic Heroes, it's even better. But like you should watch it. But much like Cowboy Bebop, much like Utena, it is a thing that what came out originally was perfect and ended. Like it finished itself. It was done. It told its story. So it is shocking to me that, the series is the first television anime adaptation of the 24 years since the 1993 Irresponsible Captain Tyler.
That's how old it is. 93?
24 years.
I thought it was later than that. I thought it was
No.
like 97, 98 or something.
In 1993, I think probably in 94 or 95 is when I actually got it.
That's when I was in like middle school.
Yeah, I watched a fan sub of some Irresponsible Captain Tyler that I got through a PBS.
I didn't know. I never heard of it until college when we saw it at the anime club.
Yeah,
Like at the second meeting maybe or something like that.
I was like advocating constantly. I was like, guys, you got to show Captain Tyler, because I was obsessed with it, and I could never get until RIT Anime. I never saw more than like the first 5 or 6 episodes, and then like 1 or 2 random episodes near the end. I literally like had no idea like how it ended.
I don't think I saw the whole thing. I watched a whole bunch of episodes and then stopped before the end, and then I don't know how far before the end, and then didn't never watch it again.
Oh shit! The end is so. I'm not saying that what it does in the end is as good as Cowboy Bebop, but it is real fucking close. It's real. There is this moment where a character salutes a character, and you'll just like the tears just gonna stream down from the one eye. But anyway, there is no
Does
more
Captain
story.
Harlock show up?
I can't. I'm just not even. You gotta see it. This is set, I guess, in the far future after the world of the original Captain Tyler, and the main character is Banjo Ueki Tyler, who probably is a great descendant of Justy Ueki Tyler, the original Captain Tyler. And I guess he carries a banjo around. And I don't know if this looks like it's going to be good, because
the screenshot
apparently
makes it look scary.
it draws heavily from the original source material, which I actually didn't know shit about.
I know. What's the original source material? The anime?
Bad.
What came before the anime?
Apparently, it was a series of light novels.
Oh, of course.
I'm going to quote this. So basically, because it's being re-released, Anna Twitter was in the boat with me. They were like, wow, that is who is bringing this back? And they all learned about Captain Tyler all at once. Quote, all this Tyler talk led me to look up the original novels, and wow, they were some cream lemon shit.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Captain Tyler in the manga or in the original novels is way older than the one in the anime, and the girl Azalin is way younger than the girl in the anime.
The alien girl?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bad news bears.
Like the alien queen, princess, whatever she is?
She's the princess. There's
Okay.
queen. I guess she's the queen. It's complicated.
And her dad is the bad guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is all bikini armor, hebephile nonsense, probably. And the fact that this draws from the source material really worries me. So until I say otherwise, because I think I'm like the biggest fan of Captain Tyler, do not watch the new show. Go watch the original TV show and nothing else, and I will find out if the new show is creepy porn or bad or maybe good. But I have
Shouldn't
little
you watch
faith.
the OAV in the movie also?
So the OAV is like a bunch of short stories that don't really add much to the universe.
Mm-hmm.
The original TV show is literally all you need to see. Everything else, it'd be like, remember the Cowboy Bebop movie? It's like that. Like, here's some more stories, but we don't actually bring anything new into the world. Which I guess is good, because if the Cowboy Bebop movie added more to the world, it kind of would have ruined what the show did.
Whatever.
So Kimono Friends, which we already talked about.
Why is this even coming up again?
Holy shit!
It's a big deal right now, but who cares?
It is like it's getting so big in Japan that apparently the character song album, which
I love that Japan even today. Right?
as the IST.
This is one of the things that fascinated me about Japan, and I guess also has to do with the business model for anime there. Right here, the anime itself is the product, whereas in Japan, anime is just an advertisement for stuff.
Yep.
But the sheer amount and wide variation of stuff that they make for every single property is like mind-boggling, right?
I did not learn.
Even back in the day, they would make so many crazy things, and like these things take a lot of effort to make. But like you can go back and it's like, oh, Sailor Moon like character album, and it's like
or Please Save My Earth, the second IST that is all original music that was not in the anime, coupled with an audio drama with the original voice actors.
There's like Trigun audio drama album, and it's like, who put that much work into making this? It's so obscure, minuscule audience thing.
I got a fan sub of the fucking Please Save My Earth audio drama and like read through it while I listened to it.
Right, so it's like for some small intellectual property, I mean, Kimono Friends is bigger than those, but it's like they'll make this thing that's like, how many is this gonna sell? Like no, there's a handful of people on Earth who want this, and a lot of people worked hard to make it.
I learned about that aspect of the industry in high school because I was really into Sailor Moon. Like, I got all the fan subs, like watched it all, and I found the
figurines of extremely obscure side character who appears in one scene.
I found the soundtrack, and it was like this. I want to say it was like a 12 CD box. So I pirated that shit, and it took me a while to pirate it because back then, like
12 CDs.
Yeah, that was a big deal, and most of those songs were never in the show. And some of them were OSTs, and which I figured out was like, original soundtrack. And some of them were ISTs. And I started learning about all this music that gets made that is never featured in shows. And then Escaflowne had the same thing. And there's this whole weird world. The Kimono Friends, I guess IST, was apparently ranked #1. And its OST was ranked #2 on the weekly album chart this month.
Mm-hmm.
So, holy shit, is Kimono Friends like the exploding nonsense in Japan right now?
That means more people bought this than bought any other music. They bought an album of Kimono Friends music that was not in Kimono Friends ever.
And an album of music that was in it, because they're two different albums. See, this is the difference between someone who watches anime versus someone who watches anime and then like looks at the internet. You see this nonsense going on.
and an anime fan in Japan who buys character albums, and
Yup.
an anime fan in the U.S. who watches it on Crunchyroll, and that's it.
I want to know, like, are there people who buy these albums but don't watch the anime? Like, how deep does the rabbit hole go? And I just don't know.
I don't know.
So, last and least, oh yeah, the watermelon thing I'm not going to talk about. I think we're out of time, actually. We've done like a full show. And the last thing I got here is the Japanese video game rankings, because that was my backup in case we went too quick.
Whatever.
Mario Kart 8 is number 1. Tekken 7. Breath of the Wild. Monster Hunter XX. Ys?
There's a
They're
lot
still
of
making-
East
They're
games.
still making Ys?
They're never gonna stop making East.
The only Ys game I ever played was Wanderers from Ys on the SNES, which
There's
I
a
didn't-
lot of games that they make in Japan and only release in Japan pretty much that a lot of people play and people in other
Fire
countries.
Emblem used to be like that. Fire Emblem used to be the game that only like crazy nut jobs in America would play like Japanese releases of.
Right, but
and no one ever thought Fire Emblem would exist in the US.
Right, but Dragon Quest, they keep trying to popularize in the U.S. and no one gives a fuck.
Yup. Ys, I feel like, is the thing that will never break
I won't
into
say
the
no
US.
one. There are some people, but it's like a fraction. Whereas you release a new Dragon Quest in Japan and like the whole country comes to a halt.
Seiken Densetsu Collection.
Oh yeah, that's so that's Seiken Densetsu
Oh, that's
is
gonna be on
Secret
the,
of Mana.
That's on the Switch. Yeah, that's on the
Right.
Switch.
Yeah, so the Secret of Mana, people don't know that the Seiken Densetsu 2, which is Secret of Mana 2, which is one of the best games there is, but
Yup.
it's never been in English ever. But on the Switch eShop, you can buy Seiken Densetsu Collection, which includes all the Seiken Densetsus.
In America with an American.
No,
yeah,
you have to use
of
it.
course.
It's in Japanese.
That's why I
you
don't
can
look at-
buy it because it's region free, but you better be able to read Japanese.
That's why I don't ever look at the Japanese side because I just get really sad.
But yeah, also Final Fantasy Adventure for the Game Boy in America. That's also Seiken Densetsu.
Yeah, they only called it Final Fantasy because the Final Fantasy brand was real valuable in the U.S.
Yeah.
I mean, remember Final Fantasy Mystic Quest?
Right. I really want to play Secret of Mana 2,
Yeah.
but it's not in English. I'm sure there's some fan translation thing I can
I remember,
get.
wasn't it like you, Alex, and Katsu were like going through like,
Just me and Katsu mostly. We played Secret of Mana 1
yeah,
a whole bunch. We didn't beat it, I don't think.
because that game is hard as fuck.
It's pretty hard. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not the hardest though.
No, it's not. Of course,
Just-
it's
it
not.
just takes
The
time.
hardest is Tumbleseed.
It just takes time.
Tumbleseed is the hardest game I've ever played on
You
purpose.
mostly with playing Secret of Mana, you just got to be careful and go slow and
Yeah.
you know, think things through. Don't just rush in and start attacking everything because it's not like Zelda where you can just go stab, stab, stab.
Yup.
When you stab, it's like, are you committed to stabbing?
Yep, you better have wanted to stab. You better have really
You better
wanted
hit that rabbite.
that level 2 stab was the one you wanted, not 3 and not 1. You wanted level 2 specifically.
Yep.
All right, I think we're out of here,
Mhm.
and we'll do shows next week, and then I think the week after that, I gotta go to London, so I'm gonna skip a week, and then Kineticon might tire us out, but then we're gonna come back with Gusto and with the Utena show. So stay tuned. All right, we're done. Let me do the Patreon thing really quick, and then I'm gonna go get some food. I'm gonna go eat a burger. It's too much meat lately, but it's burger time anyway. Well, I'm eating a burger tonight, but I went to Schnippers yesterday. I've been to too many burgers. I think I'm eating no meat. I'm gonna try to avoid meat this weekend. All right, Patreon. Boop, boop, boop. It's recording. Oh, crap. Patreon changes the interface. Not now. I don't want to look at the new interface. Stop it. How do I get to the... Oh, everything's different. All right. Your pledge... No, that's who I'm giving money to. Yeah, GeekNights is giving money to Crash Course, Johnny Wander, Neil Cicerega, SciShow, Victor Frost, Nilia, and Tanya DePass. I should actually refresh that. Anyway, how do I get to my patron manager in this new and frightening interface? Patrons, here we go. Actually, it's a much better interface. All right, current patrons. Oh, there's more money here. What's going on? All right, anyway. And the Patreon patrons for this episode of Geek Nights are... Nicholas Brandau, Alan Joyce, Heidi McNichol, Amanda Duchette, and Thomas Hahn. MyStady.com, William Eisnerose, Jeremy Monner. Life and Death and Love and Birth and Peace and War on the Planet Earth. A genuine bona fide electrified 6-car monorail. Captain Chinguakusi. Rebecca Dunn, The Terrible Secret of Space, 421 Creations. As far as I can tell, it's just a box canyon in the middle of nowhere. Shervin Von Horrell, Rare Laval, James David White, Rochelle Montanona, Superboy. I paid $5 to make Rim Say Pickle. Sailor Vista, Matthew Smith, Don Schleich, Kajar Tavishan, Joe Shiro, Joe Starks, Sean Yeager, Sam Cordery, Clinton Walton, Ren from New Zealand, Ryan Perrin, Mr. Black, Brian Cedrone, Finn, Chris Midkiff, Chris Knox, Daniel Redmond, Sean Clyde, Chris Reimer, who still is at war with me in the Civ game, and Thomas Hahn. And now I leave you with Triple Concerto for Faucet, Water Pipes, and Fiddle.